why making the Hydro Flash US Snowboard Slopestyle and Big Air team is so brutal. I'm going to explain why. Access Media Snowboard, I'm Brad J. Subscribe, like, share with your friends. It's all about competitive snowboarding. I'm dropping daily videos, breaking it down as I also travel to the biggest competitions. Let's get down to business, though. Enough of me yapping about the whole thing. Why is making the Hydro Flash U.S. Snowboard team so brutal, Brad J? I'm glad you asked that question because I'll tell you why. And it's pretty simple. When you send a team to the Olympics and you are the USA, your Team USA, you're going to send 4 snowboarders on the men's side and 4 snowboarders on the women's side, and they'll compete in not only slopestyle, well, they'll compete in big air. They compete in both of those. So that's a tough make. Think about it. Only 4 spots for men for slopestyle and big air, only 4 slots for women for big air and slopestyle. Throughout the entire USA. How do you make that team? And it's brutal because there's like 9 dudes. There's like 9 riders trying to make 3 spots right now. And you're saying to yourself, Brad J., but didn't you say 4 spots? I did say 4 spots. I'm glad you caught me on that. But I'll tell you what it is all about. There's already one guy that's already qualified for the U.S. team in slopestyle, big air, none other than Olympic gold medalist from back in the, Pyeongchang. We're talking about Red Gerard. Redmond has earned his spot. So what that does is it means it goes down to just 3 spots remain. Who's going to represent the red, white, and blue, and who's going to do it for USA? Who's going to do it? Right? Who's going to Italy? I'm going. I'll be there. But what U.S. team members are going to be the ones? All right, let's kind of break it down. Okay, we just had a World Cup competition, right? Secret Garden. That was a big one. Not everybody was there to compete in it. But then again, you had some Brooklyn DePriest, 5th place. Judd Hankus, I think he was 6th place. Both of those guys are vying for spots on the U.S. Olympic team. They already represent the U.S. team. They're already part of the Hydro Flash U.S. Snowboard team. But to make it that extra level and to be the top 4 that are picked to represent your country, oh my goodness. So let's kind of get into it. Let's take a look at it because right now, besides Red Gerard, who else has locked the other 3 spots? Nobody has locked the other 3 spots at all. So let's talk about the schedule first off. Taking a look. Here's what the rest of the World Cup schedule. You don't have a lot of opportunities to make that team. Secret Garden, you see the one on the very top. That just took place where the strong U.S. contingency on the men's side. Now, I'm just covering the men's side today. It's long enough to be able to cover that one because it's such a story. So the next big air is coming up the weekend of the 5th and 6th. So basically, the next weekend is when this is going down. And if you are Brooklyn DePriest, you've done quite well. 5th place, a top 5 finish. If you're Judd Hankus, you've done quite well. 6th place. So now, who's going to be the ones to show up and step up for Beijing next weekend? And if you're Brooklyn, you're 19 years old, and you got a good shot. You podium out there for that one in a 5th place, you look like you could be a lock. I mean, nothing's a lock because you still got, here's the rest of the schedule. I mean, it doesn't lie. Beijing Big Air next weekend. Then you have the Secret Garden for the Halfpipe. So that has nothing to do with Big Air and Slopestyle. Different riders altogether. But then you have that Steamboat Springs, Colorado, where I will be at, announcing out there, and that's going to be the Big Air. That's the next World Cup after Beijing. So that's on U.S. snow. So that's up to you. And then it's Copper, but that's Halfpipe. Then it's Calgary, but that's Halfpipe. And then it's Aspen, where we will name the team. And I will be there in Aspen Square on January 10th, announcing who those Olympic team members are going to be. On stage doing that. Who is it going to be? Just look at who we have. Jake Cantor. Let's talk about him. 13th. Had a 13th last year. What was it? The World Championships, I think. Or 13th at this last one. 7th in Calgary last year. So Jake Cantor has a very, very good shot, above average shot of making it in. 100%. A guy that you cannot take away from, who's been having a great end of the year last year and looks to continue the as in momentum. How about Ollie? How about Ollie Martin? And that's red next to him. But Ollie taking wins and getting on podiums. What's going on with that? He's a guy that you better pay attention to. To me, Red Gerard's already locked in. So I got to think that Ollie has probably got the second best chance. The other two, I don't know who's going to get those. But it's going to come down to all these spots. And then we talked about Brooklyn. Brooklyn DePriest. I said he was 17 years old in the other episode. He's actually 19. He's corrected me on that. So, not that those 2 years are huge, but it is when you're that age. So, Brooklyn DePriest, a 5th place finish. What does he do next weekend? Hey, he could really do something. This is the opportunity the dude has to come out, land a solid run, do what he wants to do. But I got to think there's guys who sat out that first one that are going to be competing. So it's not going to be a walk in the park, not with the caliber going on. How about Judd Heynckes? He's making a case for himself in a big way. Ended the season, 8th in Calgary, 6th. 6th just recently? The first World Cup. Hey, a top 5 finish for him, a podium finish for Judd. Does that put him in a lock for the team? Pretty darn close, right? I mean, you have to look at it in that way. All right, let's talk about Dusty, shall we? Dusty Hendrickson, a 5th in Calgary to end the season, a 7th at the World Champs. Skills for miles, and can he make the team? He's got a good shot at it too as well. So it's nowhere near decided right now, because you still have to think about Chris Corning, and you still have to think about Finn Bullock-Womble. That dude's been showing up and competing. And then you got to Sean Fitzsimons too as well. So he's the Luke Winkleman. I'm not sure the status on Luke right now, but another guy. So you look at that as 9 riders looking for 3 spots, and I got to think the one guy that's going to have the best chance right now to be that number 2 guy to red is going to be Ollie Martin. 1st in Calgary, 3rd at the World Champs. A good showing this weekend for Ollie could mean big things for him in trying to represent the U.S. team. So we'll see how it all breaks down. But you see how exciting this is getting down to the wire. And this is why I always say, making the Hydro Flash U.S. Snowboard team's already been done. But making the Hydro Flash U.S. Snowboard team that's going to the Olympics, being those selected 4, is not going to be easy. It is brutal, to say the least, because you got 9 riders for 3 spots. And we'll see how it all plays out. The next weekend's going to be Beijing. Looking forward to that one. That's going to do it for Access Media Snowboarding. I'm Brad J. Come on, man. Subscribe, like, turn on notifications, share with your friends, and we'll keep this thing going. I'm Brad J., and I'll see you on the hill.